is going to be hilarious. This is going to be a hilarious little reel at the end. Buttons. Hi guys, so editing Rhea here. I wanted to have this video out a lot sooner than now. Like I wanted to have it out like 2.5 months ago, but life happened, and I'm also ill, and even though it doesn't look like I'm ill, I actually have gallstones, which are incredibly painful. I've been dealing with them for months until the doctors figured out what was going on. So I have surgery upcoming, and there is no longer a Mr. Rhea Creates in my life, unfortunately. So I'm moving on and doing all the grand things that one does, you know, getting healthier. And so at the time of filming this video for my fan, I was 170 pounds and I was really, really, really unhealthy. And thanks to a gallbladder that refuses to let me have any kinds of fats, I've slimmed down quite a bit. And I'm not done losing, unfortunately. I don't think the diet's going to change too much. But I would like to have a slice of cake every now and then, because that would be delicious. So yay for, I guess, the revenge body. However, I do hope that you guys enjoy this video. It's going to be a lot of talking over and like speeding up the process, because it's a lot of clips that I filmed, and I was just daunted by putting out another video of just straight up craziness. Also, my household is no longer a 2-cat, 1-dog household. It is now a 4-cat household, which the cat adventures are real. Especially with a 6-month-old kitten. Oh dear. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, leave a comment, make a like, subscribe if you feeling like it. I don't know how often I'll put out a video, but this January I was supposed to be filming at the Alexander Mansion in Dallas for my Worth gown. Unfortunately, my Worth gown is not done. It's very close to being done. I have to make the bodice and petticoats and a bust improver and finish the corset. That actually sounds like a lot of work. So I'll have to get in contact again with the Alexander Mansion, but I do have some photos that I cannot share, unfortunately, from the Met Museum for personal use. I actually have photos of the inside of the Worth gown, and let me tell you, it has blown my mind, and I wish I could share them, but I think the next video I do, I will have to kind of like draw some sketches of being like, okay, this is how they did it on this gown, and it is amazing. It literally blew my mind. Anyway, I'm very, very excited about it. I'm currently working on 3 different gowns right now. Obviously, we have a German here, but right next to it that you guys cannot see is a red and gold German, but I have to pattern the bodice. So I don't know if I'm going to film that process yet. It's kind of down and dirty. That was probably too much information. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Also, New Year's resolution. Hopefully more content. Let's make it happen. If it's more than 1, we're good. Okay, hi. So I bought this fan from rubylane.com, which has some really great finds, and this was in the budget, and I loved it so much. And I'm just expecting it here and trying to see which way the feathers go, because I was like, feathered fan, I'll just add some feathers and fix this. No, it is vintage and it is old. So these feathers are just falling off, and they said it was pink. And these leather kid gloves, they're like elbow length. And I love them so much. I got these off of Etsy, but they're just missing a button. I was like, well, this can't be too bad, and it fits the sides of my hands, because the best way to measure it is around your knuckles when you're looking for gloves. So I was just like, well, I think it's just time to inspect these and see what kind of feathers they are, and then I just started pulling them off because that paper needed to be some acid-free paper. I don't really know how old the fan is. I just know that the fan is gorgeous, and it is made of some rice paper and has beautiful silver inlay, and I'm just like taking these feathers off because it's just unreal of just how great they are. But I wanted to kind of inspect to see like which way these feathers went. So like they're directional, so it goes all in one direction, kind of like around the fan, but they also like put feathers at the very top and at the bottom. So I was hoping to try to salvage as many of these feathers as possible, but unfortunately it didn't quite work out that way. And you know, I'm just trying to see, okay, what kind of feathers are they? Are they marabou? Are they turkey? Are they swan? Like, which ones are good? Which ones are in the keep pile? Which ones aren't in the keep pile? And that was definitely a challenge. And at the same time, I was just kind of going, how do I save this as much as possible? And unfortunately, this fan isn't really salvageable. So in the end, I ended up having to save as many of these feathers as possible, because you never know when you're going to need some good feathers, and these feathers are incredibly soft. So I was thinking they're marabou, but they're likely not. They're just like a down feather, and they're not turkey. I was actually quite surprised, believe it or not. I remember that I did find them on the internet, and I was like, oh, these are great. And so I ordered some, and they came in, and they just weren't the way I needed it. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to spread this fan out, because I suck at math, and I'm going to start trying to spread this paper out as much as possible, and then try to fold it in an accordion style. And it was just, you know, sometimes you just got to make things work. You just do. Like, costuming is kind of like a MacGyver experience, and I'm just testing this fan out and seeing like where it's broken, where isn't, and peeling it apart, because this fan is actually, like, at the edges, it's actually thinner and towards as the paper is. And so, like, as you get towards the middle, it gets thicker, like wider, I guess. The paper gets wider because the staves are different lengths. And I was just, at this point, I was just like, I'm done trying to fight this as much as possible. I'm just going to carefully peel all this paper off and see, like, how they did it. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, oh, this is a lot of glue. This is a mess. I probably tore up, like, this fan from, like, the 1950s or 60s when they were doing, like, debutante balls. This thing came in, like, a case, and, like, it was like a shadow box. So somebody really loved this fan. It was just falling apart, though. Like, as you can see, the paper is crumbling and falling away, and it just wasn't really good. And so now I had this giant pile I had to deal with, and that just went into a little bag. But the staves are all gummy, so I have, like, this leather, like, knife. It's for, like, cutting leather, but it works really great when you're working hard and shaving off this glue as much as possible. You kind of want to sand it a little bit, but you kind of don't, because you need it to have, like, a rough, grainy edge. And, you know, like, we're just gonna try to save this fan as much as possible. I mean, that's the idea of buying vintage. You either take care of it or you repurpose it. Because I just can't stand to see things that are vintage just kind of die and go away into, like, the great beyond, known as a landfill, which is unhealthy. And so that's what I did. I was sitting there taking my time, cleaning them, doing my best, making a mess on my table. The great table of doom here. Right now it's just full of stuff at the moment. I actually have to go clean it because life's been crazy, and I've had people moving in, and, you know, I have great housemates now. So, you know, life is definitely taken a turn, but that table is just like where everything gets stored. I have, like, a bunch of tools on there right now, and I know I'm planning to do some flowers for the Wheatworth gown coming up, and I'm actually really excited to finish that dress, but unfortunately I lost like 27 pounds so far since the end of grad school, and now everything has to be resized and being taken in. And, you know, that's kind of the struggle is real. The struggle is real. I'm like, well, I could just buy a new one, or I could, you know, whip out my fancy college degree and, you know, resize things. That's fine. This is fine. So I've just spent all this time shaving all this glue off, and then I realized that the staves are not straight. They're actually warped for some reason, and I don't know if that was because it was kept in this, like, this box, like this glass case, or, you know, the fact that it's wood and it's really thin, but it has, like, some beautiful lace inlay. And so here I'm just making an outline of the paper, trying to do the best I can, because I suck at math and there's some crazy geometry going on here. But, like, how hard is it to make a fan? Turns out it can be quite difficult. Quite difficult. And And then I went through like this process of like marking out like where the folds were, which is I'm doing right there. I'm just like looking to see like where the staves are, where the folds are on the paper, and it just, you know what, it didn't exactly work out the way I was hoping it would. So here's all my marks and everything, and I'm like, huh, okay, I'm gonna write some notes on there. And you know, sometimes it just doesn't really work out the way you're expecting it to. It's, you know, things aren't ever perfect in costuming, and like I said, it's like a lot of MacGyver work. You kind of just have to get in there to see like what's going on. Like, books are great, books can tell you a lot, but they don't really tell you that much. Sometimes you just have to stick your nose inside of it and see what's going on. So here I am marking out the folds and the staves, and I don't know what I was thinking. I should have gone like with like 2 different colors here to kind of denote where everything is, because I got confused. I just straight up confused myself, which is never really a good thing, especially because then you're just like, huh. But it's more like a working process, like a visual aid. I think costumers in general are just like the best puzzle makers out there. Like, we can just decipher something and then build it. So I folded it in half because I figure, you know, both sides should be even. Put some pins on my acid paper. I have a lot of this like rice paper, like huge roll of it, and I still haven't gone through it. So I'm still working on it here. I'm just cutting it out. I'm checking it out. I'm like, okay, this is probably like reiteration, like number million, because I just keep tracing and tracing, and then, you know, hopefully I get something that I'm happy with. So now I'm just folding it, and I was like, huh, I don't think that's a good idea. And like, here's another clip of like the millionth time I've just decided, oh God, what did I do? Oh, this is the worst. I'm trying to figure everything out and like center line and then mark all the staves. It's just a lot of repetition here. And I'm just like, yeah, I think I'm done with this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. I'm just going to continue, keep trying and trying and trying, and then like tape it down the staves and see if it works. Kind of like a weird stave mock-up kind of thing. Sometimes, you know, you just got to go for it. And eventually you'll get there. But with this fan, I actually had to do like 2 sets of paper. I kind of had to like sandwich it in there because it's not like something you can just fold down, because there's the curve on top. And if you know curves as a costumer, they can be pretty dangerous. You can really mess up your stuff. So here's some stavey staves and me trying to make everything as even as possible. But you know, this was a challenge. I didn't think fans would be this hard, but they are hard. So once I got all the paper bits finally figured out, I went ahead and I just put a hard box on top of it just to kind of weigh it down and get the paper to set flat. And then I went ahead and folded the fan, and I did this off camera, and I had a bunch of ostrich feathers saved from the last time I decided to use ostrich feathers, because I have like a huge stash that I've just been sitting on for like a decade. And so I went ahead and I started cutting the feathers and sort of making them like fit where I wanted them to go, because that's like important. So just lots of hot glue and some burned fingers. That's what was happening there. It's been interesting, and you know, fighting with my camera and trying to make sure everything stays in frame. Whee! And yep, so it's just basically the whole, where can we stick a feather, and if we can stick a feather, can we stuff it in there and kind of make sure that it stays, and like the tiniest little beads. And like I said, a lot of burnt fingers going on here. And sometimes I just question my sanity. And this was one of those projects. So I was like, you know what? I love making accessories, especially when I'm working on a big project. And the wheat Worth gown is like a huge project to me. Like, I've always wanted a Worth gown, and I'm really admiring them. And you know, we have that movie coming out on HBO, or the show, basically about the Gilded Age, and I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be like the battle royale of the new age, new money versus old money, and you know, those kinds of things. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And I was told that maybe I should do like some movie reviews by my friend Mia, and she's just like, you need to start doing these, you know, fill up the space. But you know, I've been incredibly busy with health and life in general, that crafting is kind of taken a back seat. But for my mental health, I need to craft more. Like, funny how that works. So here I am just pushing some feathers out of the way, because they will get stuck on top of each other, and I really kind of wanted this to have like a very flowy thing, and sort of towards the end I kind of figured out like how I wanted all of this to stack on top of each other, but I will kind of go back and fill in the gaps a little bit. This was definitely an interesting take. Is it perfect? By no means. Should it be? No. I don't think costumes should be perfect. There's definitely work you can be satisfied with and work that you shouldn't be satisfied with. And now I'm just giving it a mean shake and testing it out. And I'm like, oh yeah, look at that. It's fluffy. It's really fluffy. Like incredibly fluffy. And it's just like, you wonder if it's gonna fall off and not. And then I folded it up and there you have it. One very, very pretty fan. And here's the gloves. So like I said, I got these from Etsy, and then it was like this big challenge to find a specific kind of button. I probably ordered like 6 different buttons, and like the millimeters are all weird, and I couldn't quite find one that I was happy with. So I'm sitting here like trying these different sizes to like shove them through the hole, because these holes are really, really tiny. And I finally found one that was somewhat okay, because I still want to preserve the integrity of the original buttons, and not just that, but like get this new one on, because you know we need to have gentle buttony thing here. But you know, these gloves they're leather. Camera mess up. What did I do here? I don't know. Are we struggling? We're struggling. I'm struggling. I'm a mess right now. I'm just saying. Different camera angle. So I completely didn't edit that. Sorry guys. But go ahead and sew this new button on by placing the knot on top of the leather, and then come down and then back up. So the knot will be right next to the button. And so I'm just going to go ahead and restabilize some of these other buttons. It's just as important as kind of keeping everything in general to continue working, because the last thing you want to happen is a zipper disaster, a clasp disaster, a shoe disaster, or a button disaster. Like, if any of your fastenings go like while you're wearing a dress, you're done. You're like, oh, and like that's like why we have emergency sewing kits whenever we go to events, right? Just sew everything up and keep it cool. Yeah. Yep. So there's my finished buttons. They looked out great, and you know, pretty awesome. I'm feeling pretty good about this project, and I'm ready to go. And thanks for watching, guys. I will hopefully see you guys soon with another video about something soon. I hope. Gosh.